UFC 203 was last night, so I'm going to bring you a quick little recap of what happened. There was a couple headlines that I really monitored and enjoyed looking at during this fight week. For one, CM Punk's debut, which was probably made out to be more than it was given the fact of how he looked in the Octagon itself. And we're going to get on in a little bit to Dana White's points in the post-fight press conferences. You're going to see a lot of Dana White blasts fighter here, when the reality is when you watch the press conference, it seemed like it was more of an advice, more of a mentoring type of thing that maybe CM Punk should be dropping into a different form of MMA before he comes back to the UFC. But that can all be discussed, obviously, in a little bit. In terms of the headliner, Stipe Miocic in front of his hometown of Cleveland against Alistair Overeem. And an interesting fight, given the fact that, for one, it looked like he was done a minute into the fight. He got a brutal leg kick and then gets dropped right down to his butt. And then Overeem just couldn't finish him, couldn't get the choke down. So it gave Miocic a little bit more life. And by the time it got to the end of round one, it was pressuring, he was hounding him, he kept coming at him. Everything Overeem was throwing to kind of try to stall Miocic from getting to him just wasn't enough. And that's what's crazy when you watch any two heavyweights fight each other in general, in an octagon sense, in a ring sense. Either way, it takes a lot of stopping power. A couple quick hits to the head, a couple quick kicks to the body isn't just enough to really halt your opponent when they're carrying that much power, that much weight with each strike, with each kick, with each attempt at submission, whatever it might be. So again, there wasn't so much to break down with that fight, and neither was there so much to break down with Micky Gall versus CM Punk. So, but I did feel that there is something more interesting that we're not being talked enough about, is that, well, while CM Punk might not have been a top-tier opponent his first time in the Octagon, Micky Gall was showing promise, a prospect, if you will, in the UFC, 3-0, all via rear naked choke. He showed this exact same expertise when it comes to the ground game at UFC Fight Night 82 back in February, when he defeated Mike Jackson the same way, in even quicker fashion. And, you know, when I'm watching Micky Gall versus CM Punk, everybody's eyes were on Punk because of the WWE background. However, I know that there's the core MMA audience who, of course, knows of who Micky Gall is, who watches Fight Pass, who understands that there's a lot of fighters just like Mickey who are coming up, and at some point, 3-0, not enough fights under his belt, obviously, and I'm not trying to overhype one specific fighter. It's just the fact of the matter is that the press should be about Micky Gall because he looked good in the Octagon, while CM Punk's going to get all the attention. And even from Dana White, the Fight Network, who we've worked with before, I always encourage everyone to go over there and watch Robin Black's breakdowns and their fight news. They have great hosts, great talent. Dana White mentioned in a press conference with the Fight Network afterwards a few things. For one, he doesn't know if this is something that CM Punk is really going to adjust to. He talked about how he gave him a shot in the Octagon, and then he said he's probably not going to fight in the UFC next. It doesn't mean he's done with the UFC, it doesn't mean he might not come back to the UFC, but it seems like Dana White is very low, the stock is low on CM Punk based on what he showed. So I found that fascinating, this whole entire way going into this fight week, going into CM Punk's debut. I mean, of course, UFC, UFC.com, all this stuff has all these behind the scenes, these like 24/7-esque looks at fighters like CM Punk making that transition. And he says, but Dana White was making it the point in a way. Yes, he blasts CM Punk. No, it's more that he was advising CM Punk to maybe get some more experience under his belt before you try to learn in the Octagon of the UFC Octagon, I should say, because there's better ways to improve if you're not ready for that. So I'm curious where everyone else stands on Dana White in terms of just CM Punk. Again, every time we throw to the audience for Dana White, it's not him overall, just this case-by-case basis. What do you think about him, CM Punk? What do you think about Micky Gall? Does he have a bright future ahead of him? Was it a fluke because CM Punk is not necessarily a great fighter? All that stuff. And of course, Stipe Miocic, where is he going to go next defending his belt? Where's the next? He's not going to have his home crowd in front of him in his next fight, but who should he take on next as well? The other fight game news, Kell Brook, his team threw in the towel in the 5th round. They saw something they didn't like. So there's a lot of Twitter reaction. in terms of Kell Brook and how could you throw in the towel there? Was it the right time to throw in? If your corner sees something they don't like, then you have to trust your corner. Especially when you're in the ring with a literal destroyer, with someone the size, of course, if I'm going to make the Francis Maxwell reference, the size of Ivan Drago coming around and the ability to really do some damage like Golovkin can. Or Triple G gets his TKO. It's his 23rd straight knockout, if I'm correct, improving to still an undefeated, still a great record. And obviously the fight that needs to happen is Canelo Alvarez. I talk about that for days. More importantly, I have a lot of respect for Kell Brook. I have a lot of respect for any fighter who's ballsy enough to get into the ring for more than 10 seconds with Golovkin. He truly is the most powerful middleweight we've seen in some time. And also, again, the corner saw something they did not like. Throw in the towel. It is going to always be the right thing to do. I understand that at times in boxing, it's like these are warriors, gladiators in a ring trying to fight out with their every last breath. But if they see something, you throw in the towel. So I trust the ring. I always trust the corner, and especially Kell Brook's corner, because of most respect to get into that ring with Golovkin. That's all I got for you. Comment below. Like, favorite, subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow, which is Monday, with football, soccer and football news and action, and maybe some more fight games depending on what happens this week. And you can follow me on Twitter at JasonRiver91. Other places. Hope you enjoy the my room you see here, which is a mirror, a Michael Vick signed poster, yes, a Eli Manning holding a championship trophy, yes, a very strange collection of things here. See you next time.